The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
On the DeMott experience, and like I say, this is the BDE here on the Realm Network. And as always, as I do before we get started, and I got to tell you right off the bat, everybody on iTunes, you want to listen to this edition of the BDE. But first, I'm going to do some business with my friends at Amazon. As we know, the holiday season's here. We're into December. We talk about it on the Thursday show with Miss Paula. She has her wish list. We have great shows that have come up. A lot of my guests, you can get their books and the things they're promoting on Amazon. And today we have another one of those guests. But if you go to the BillDeMottExperience.com, hit the Amazon button. It supports this free show. It lets Amazon know you're listening. It lets me know that Amazon's paying attention to what we're doing, and everybody's happy. Amazon's library, music library, video library, book library, everything is unbelievable. So especially this holiday season, get involved with the Amazon Prime. You get the 2-day free shipping. All things like that are included. So my friends at Amazon, here we are in the Bill DeMott Experience. And as everyone knows from my YouTube show, I want to go out and meet the people. And my guest today is Justina Lasley. And Justina is the author of several books on dreams, including a new book, Wake Up Your Dreams, that we're going to talk about. Transform your relationships, career, and health while you sleep. And this is a big deal. I started reading this book, and I'm captivated by the premise of it. So let me introduce, before we go any further, Justina. Thank you so much for joining the Bill DeMott Experience.
Thank you, Bill, for inviting me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting because for 28 years as wrestlers, we always use the term, hey, how's everything going? And we use the term, we're living the dream. But your books take this to a whole different meaning.
Yes, we are living the dream. And some people want to know whether our waking life is our dream life and our nighttime is reality.
Yeah, I'm really interested because I've always been, as a kid, hey, did you have sweet dreams? And I listened to my boy who's just turned 7. He goes, oh, I had a nightmare. And he says, what's it about? And he goes, I don't remember. It was just a bad dream. But you have, tell me about Dream Synergy and tell me how this whole thing started for you.
Wow, that's 2 big questions. So Dream Synergy is a word that I coined for my process of dream work, of trying to help people, individuals, really understand this wisdom that we're given at birth. We have this incredible amount of information that's coming to us every night, 5 to 6 times. And so I've been trying to simplify the process so that people will actually wake up to their dreams and use this guidance in their life. And so we'll talk about Dream Synergy today, on and off on this interview, a lot of ways that I've focused in on the dream as part of the Dream Synergy process. And you asked how I got involved. And yes, one of those things is a later life involvement. I was busy raising my children and living in Atlanta and, very involved in the community and the good wife and everything, and just thought that my life was complete. And then in 1990, I was introduced to dreams, and I never knew that people took dreams seriously. I knew I was captivated by my dreams even as a child. And like your son waking up with nightmares, I knew I'd had nightmares. I didn't know all of these things had meaning and guidance for my life. So I was infatuated, and from that moment, I started getting involved in the dream world and actually went back to graduate school and got my master's in transpersonal psychology with an emphasis in dreams.
That's it. I'm just, I don't know where to start because I have so many questions. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those guys. My opinion is, well, if I had a dream, it was, and as you go, you dream about that perfect person, or you dream about, hey, I had the greatest day at my job or whatever it is. but to find out and going through your book and finding out that they all mean something. And the cool thing and I always use the word cool. The cool thing for me is that this isn't just something you decide to do. You have 25 plus years in this research, and you have the Institute for Dream Studies. So you're taking this and bringing this to the forefront of more than just someone who I don't want to say it the wrong way, who just would analyze and go, oh, that's a great dream, that means this. You're really breaking it down, and that's what your latest book is doing. Yes,
it is. And I do have the Institute for Dream Studies. When I got involved in this, and for my own life, and from my book, that I share a lot of my personal journey, and how dreams have influenced my relationships, my health, and my career. And therefore the title, and I saw in other people's lives that I was working with, how quickly they made difficult change with the help of their dreams. And in graduate school, I did some research, like what's going on here? What allows people to make such phenomenal positive change in their life by listening to their dreams when maybe they've been in therapy for years and years and years? And one of the main things I think is that when we are going to someone else or we're reading something, it's the other person's life we're reading about. And our dreams are coming from within. It's our own wisdom. And that was really important to me, and to learn that it was the truth. It wasn't somebody that had their life expectations and stuff for me and trying to lead me in that direction. It's really that authentic person. It was the authentic Justina talking to me. This is what you love in life. These are your skill sets. These are your talents. Go for it, and I will show you the way to get there. And the dreams are asking us to take risk and make these changes. But I saw how quickly people were doing this. And the other thing, not only is it quick change, but it's sustainable change, because we don't have to go every week to have therapy. We've got it every night, 5 to 6 times. And I am by no means discounting therapy. I myself am a huge advocate of that. But I'm just saying that everybody listening has this avenue to the wisdom of their life.
Right. So what would you say to the layman, to the person who goes, well, I don't really dream? Is it possible that we don't dream, or is it just that we're not in touch with it?
Yes, you got it. We are dreaming as human beings, just like we're breathing, our heart is beating. This is a part of our human existence, and that in itself shows me that it's important. A lot of things become extinct in our existence. We change. Human beings have changed over time, but this remains with us for every human being, unless there can be a mental problem that someone has that interrupts their dreams, or if they're involved in really difficult sleep or illness, they may have difficulty. But for most of us, we are having multiple dreams every night. So it's not a problem of I'm not dreaming. It is a problem I'm not remembering my dreams. And we can talk about that if you want, because I think that's the first step. First, we got to have the dreams, remember the dreams, before we can follow the dreams.
Right. So I guess that leads me to the next question is, why are they so important? Why are dreams so important to us? Because I know, and like I said, as I haven't gone through the whole book, I know you break it down. But for everybody listening here today, and as we go forward, and for myself, because I've casted away a thought I may have had while I was sleeping and went, well, that doesn't pertain to what it is. It's just one of those things. It's a dream. It's just a dream. So why are dreams important? Not only how they've helped you, but what does it mean to the everyday guy?
Yeah. Well, this was really hard for me in the beginning of my studies of the human mind and understanding how we can know so well for ourselves what is good for us and who we are and our authentic nature and what we're brought to this world to do. And so I talk about this in my book because it was a real life-changing understanding for me. I woke up one morning and I was at a conference where I was battling with some of this, trying to understand how can I know for myself without looking to the experts, without looking to my parents, without looking to my teachers for the answers for my life. And I heard a bird chirping outside, and I thought, that's it. Now I understand. My family was very interested in birding and ornithology, and we had a huge respect for birds and all they knew in life and all their innate wisdom. And they know where to go, how to build a nest, how to have their young, what to feed, what to eat. They haven't read any books. They haven't gone to graduate school. None of that stuff.
Right.
And I thought, oh my gosh, would we really have been created lesser than a bird or an animal? I believe it for animals. I believe it for birds. Why is it so hard for me to believe it for myself? And that was a big changing point of understanding that this gift of dreams is a gift that we're giving at birth. And for every day of our life, it's rehashing what's going on in action, reaction, thinking, learning, all of those things, and saying, wait, let me show you a lesson. Let me show you something that will move you forward in your goals in your life. And so it gives us these symbolic, metaphorical stories of our life, showing us our past and how we might have done things in the past, what's going on for us now in the present, and how we might live more happily and joyfully in the future.
Right.
All in one dream.
That's a lot to fathom.
It is. It is. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. And a lot of my friends and my husband, they're all retired. And they are, when are you going to retire? And I said, when I wake up the world, because we are sleeping through this gift and this wisdom. And what a kinder, gentler world this would be if we all followed this. If we embrace this wisdom that we're given, and we don't.
Right. I agree with that. It would be, I'd like to see things change in that direction.
Yeah.
So with that being said, how can dreams, and we'll talk about me for right now. How can my dreams, no matter what's going on in my crazy day and in my life, and as everyone knows who follows Bill DeMott, I've had a hectic past couple of 6 months, but how can my dreams improve my relationships, my career? And I'm fascinated to know that my dreams can improve my health.
Yeah.
How and I always say I'm like the simplest person in the world, so I need it broken down so I can understand that
in detail. And this is what Wake Up to Your Dreams book does, because I really continue to struggle. If this is gold information, if our dreams can transform our lives, why aren't people paying attention? And so I think it is that people think it's too difficult, that it takes too much time, and they just can't deal with it. It's speaking this language they don't understand.
Right.
And that is what I want to do. So I'm so glad you asked that. Let's break it down. How can it? Give me some examples, of how it can transform my life. I, for one, and now I'll speak for mine to show you how it can transform your life. My health has been greatly improved by my dreams. I was diagnosed with lupus, which is an autoimmune disease, and it causes a lot of problems. It seems like every health issue, it just exaggerates any kind of health issue that you have. Well, to begin with, before I was diagnosed with this, I was going to doctor after doctor. Things were not going well health-wise. No doctor could figure it out. I was an enigma. I just was, they would look at me and go, you are weird, because this is not the way this particular health issue moves forward. And so I happened to be in graduate school at the time that I was dealing with some of this. And the clinic at the graduate school, the doctor was a Native American.
Right.
And he found out that I was studying dreams. And he said, do you have any dreams about your illness? I said, I don't know, but let me tell you one I had last night that really woke me up. And he was actually drawing the images of my dream on the examining room table, on the paper on the table. And he was like, wow, these little things crawling up your childhood bedroom wall, they really reminded him of not the cellular structure, but elements of the structure.
Right.
And he said, I'm going to do some additional testing on you. And he was the one at the clinic. You know, I was going to Emory, I was going to Duke, I was going to all these great doctors who are great doctors, but because it was so difficult, he was the one that realized at that point some of the things that were going on in my life. And so I really attribute the dreams to focusing in and helping us see what it was. I had injuries. I'm sure, Bill, in your life, you have had so many injuries.
Yes,
They're
ma'am.
hard to get over. And again, the doctors were baffled when I had a hand injury. And it was sort of, my hand was degenerating instead of getting better. And they were doing all kinds of things, and I was going to the best hand specialist. And I had a dream that, again, I share in Wake Up to Your Dreams. And it was about poisonous snakes in my hand and pulling them out and putting my hand underwater. And I told my physical therapist about it. And she said, you know what? Just this week, we have gotten him a new water treatment for hands. And I'm going to try this on you. And we tried it, and with that and my visualizing, taking the poison finger by finger out of my hand, it was a metaphorical symbolic dream. It was about a dirt dauber's nest. Do you know what a dirt dauber's nest is?
No.
It's a southern wasp, like it builds its nest on walls out of clay.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes.
You know what I mean? And
yes,
they're
ma'am.
cute. Well, in the dream, it was a dirt dauber's nest. And I didn't think about it being about my hand until I described to some people in one of my dream groups. And they didn't know what a dirt dauber's nest. And I said, it's like this. It looks like a hand. And with that, I burst into tears. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's it.
Hand. It's the poison in my hand. But do you start seeing how the symbolism, this image, people say, if it's so important, why didn't it just tell us? Why doesn't it say, you should do this with your hand? And what I think is that we would totally ignore it, and words are so limiting. You know, you think about parables in the Bible, or something like that. Okay, why are they parables? Why aren't they just, you should do this? Because the story becomes timeless, and it becomes much bigger. You, Bill, me, Justina, with our different lives and experiences, can take that story, that dream, and make meaning for our own lives.
Right.
Much greater than if it were words.
I get that. I totally get that. And as you're saying that, the first thing that comes to my mind, I think, is the opposite of a dream. At least the way I understand it, is a nightmare.
Yes.
And then,
a nightmare is just a dream. Did you know that?
No, and that's why that's
dream
kind of,
that's
yeah.
Blowing up. And people say, and you mentioned this with your son, you said, had a nightmare, a bad dream. It was just a bad dream.
Right.
And I have this thing going with some of the dream researchers in the world because they call nightmares bad dreams. And I have actually confronted them in a big conference about why are you calling nightmares bad dreams? Because it's a dream that has been ignored, and it's important information that the dreamer is ignoring. And so the dream is coming in a very emotional way. And what does it do, Bill? It wakes us up.
Yeah.
And so when people say they don't remember dreams, like I ask them to raise their hand if they remember a dream and they don't. And I'll say to a crowd, do you remember a nightmare? And almost everybody raises their hand.
Yeah, I'd raise my hand.
Because, and so what does that say about nightmares? They're memorable. They wake us up. They have huge emotional facts and, emotional power and charge. And we do pay attention to those. And that's exactly what it's trying to get. So do you want to talk a little bit more about nightmares? Because they're very important.
Yeah, I'm of the, and half the time I'll say I may not remember what it was that made me get up. And you grew up as a kid, at least in my house and everybody I grew up with, was, did you have a bad dream? Was it a nightmare? Now I'll get at 50 years old and with everything that's going on, I've caught myself, and my wife will tell me in the morning, you jumped up and sat at the end of the bed and didn't say a word. Were you okay? And I'll tell her, I don't know what you're talking about, and go back to it. But knowing what kind of day I've had and everything else. So I would say, as the everyday guy, I don't know why I would want to remember that nightmare. But please tell me why that nightmare is important.
Okay. Dreams come to us every night to give us guidance. If it's an important message and it's really going to affect our life in a damaging way, we start having recurring dreams. Say I've had a stressful day and I'm just so busy, I don't have time to deal with the stress. Right. I don't have time to deal with the anger that, a coworker or something like that. I just stuff it down. I don't have time to deal with these things. Right. I'm just stuffing them down. It's not good for us, health-wise. We were talking about health-wise. We don't even feel, so many times in our busy life, we don't even know how we feel. I can't tell you the number of people I work with that don't even, when I say, how do you feel about that? They were like, I don't even know what you mean anymore. Because there's no time for feeling. Right. Feeling sad, feeling mad, feeling afraid, even feeling joy and glad. And so this work in my life and my dream work and the dream synergy process that we're talking about, one of the first things I realized is how important emotions are in the dream. Because these powerful emotions don't mind being exposed in the dream. You wake up in the night, you're upset, you wake up, you calm yourself down so you can go back to sleep. You're either afraid, somebody's capturing you, you're being chased, something like that. Sometimes I wake up with tears, right, and I think, wow, I don't even know I'm sad. What in the world am I sad about? I haven't even had time to think about what's under there making me sad or angry at someone. I just stuff it down because I need to go on. My dreams don't allow me to do that. They're going to bring forward that anger because we know the way we're wired that these emotions not expressed are damaging to our health, our relationships, our career, whatever, whether you're in sports or, whatever avenue of life you're in. So by bringing this to light, we're going to get it. The recurring dream comes over and over. Do you have any recurring dreams that you remember, the same theme dream that keeps coming up?
No, I don't have any that I can remember recurring. The one thing that kind of blows my mind is I will feel like I had a dream a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden I'm living in that moment and it's happening, as I say, live. And it's, people, right, in deja vu or whatever, or I've been here before and it's going down exactly the way I saw it. To me, that's what, and I think, just speaking for, that's what freaks me out. So when someone says, hey, dreams come true, I go,
Please not. Please not. Like the nightmares that you're talking about. Nightmares are so important to work with, and I've worked with PTSD too. And this is the same way that nightmares are affecting us, the PTSD, the post-traumatic stress,
right,
is affecting people. And we're using dreams more and more in that area, because what we're finding out and have known for quite a bit of time is all of this suppressed emotion is damaging.
Right.
And it actually gains energy by suppressing it. It doesn't lessen the amount of trauma for us in our lives and in our health. It actually enlarges it becomes enormous because we're sort of holding it down like this, and it becomes tighter and bigger and expands like a balloon.
So it's
negative energy. I'm sorry?
Negative energy.
Negative energy. It becomes, so by expressing it, and things like when children are having nightmares, some parents want to say, just go back to sleep. It's not real. Right. Don't pay attention. But the best thing we can do is to ask the child to tell us about it. And just in saying it out loud and acknowledging that this exists and not trying to interpret it, but just listening.
Right.
And do the same as adults, to share it, write it down. People don't want to do that. They were like, I don't want to tell you my nightmare. It's awful. It's as if it might make it real. But over and over they find out. They're so glad when they tell it, because the energy diffuses. And this is just so important. And I was saying, interpret your dreams. There's so much, Bill, I want to say, but people ask me to interpret their dreams, and I say, I don't interpret your dreams.
Right.
And I can interpret your dreams, Bill, because that would be speaking from my life. And it would have more to do with me than you. And it's the same in our life when we're trying to help people. We cannot tell other people what to do. We can, we know for ourselves, but I do help people interpret their own dreams. And hopefully Wake Up to Your Dreams, the book, will help people and give them those tools that you see in the book, exercises to use for their dreams.
Yeah, this is so interesting to me, because as so many people and so many people's different careers and lives and how they've gone down that road, I just find it like, and I said that we had a couple minutes to talk before, you so have my attention with this, and as I go through the book and then talking to you, it makes sense. And so in chapter 5 of your book, it's dreams plus action equal change.
We are definitely on the same page. It went through my mind while I had a moment. I thought, I don't want to forget to tell them about dreams plus action.
Yeah. So as I say, and I say this a lot, I've been getting a lot of books, and I love when our guests share their books and all. But this, as I'm going through, and it stuck out at me, and I have the bookmarker in it. And as I started to go, and I said, well, that's the one. If I can't get to anything else, I'd love to get to that.
Great. Well, as we've been talking about, dreams are given to us. They're gifts at birth. And before birth, they're finding out that the babies in utero are dreaming a lot of the time. And I really enjoyed watching my grandchildren, the rapid eye movement of dreaming. We believe that dogs, we see dogs, we're like, people know their dogs dreaming, but they're like, but I don't dream. So we know dreams are given, right? They're gifts. But unless we add action to that, there is no difference. There is no change. But if we have intention and commitment to remember our dreams, to work with our dreams, to come to understanding of our dreams and understand the message that the dream is trying to tell us. And then there's one more thing we have to do. We have to actually do something that the dream is asking us to do. Then change will occur and we will be more fulfilled, more joyful, richer, following our life thread in a way that I think anybody that's worked with their dreams would say is something that they never imagined that they could accomplish what they've accomplished now that they've started following their dreams.
Right. Now, is it safe to say, and again, I have to say this, listening to you is just, you just have my full attention, and I so understand more now than when I thought I did. Do you think it's safe to say that a lot of people are turned off by the fact that they don't, is the first step just me dealing with it and acknowledging my dreams? I don't necessarily have to share that with my neighbors or my brother or anybody. First, I have to come to terms with that. Is that a assumption?
Yes. It is a personal journey and an individual journey in a lot of ways, but it becomes a group journey. And this is one thing that my first book was, Honoring Your Dreams, a handbook for dream group leaders. Because I started leading dream groups in my church in Atlanta, and a lot of people thought, at that time, they were like, a church lets you talk about dreams?
Right.
And it's so funny because they're all over the Bible, but somehow we think that dreams are set aside from that. But I do see it as God's gift, wisdom to us in the night. So it's a spiritual journey in a way of claiming that part of ourselves and realizing it and starting to record your dreams. You know, I want to, in my top 10 tips for remembering your dreams, you can go onto my website, which is dreamsynergy.com. It's DreamSynergy.com. And you can sign up and get the top 10 tips for remembering your dreams. And the first thing is intention and commitment. That's something that only the individual can do. So you as the individual have to commit some time and want to remember. I say you can't fool your psyche.
Right.
You can say, yeah, I want to remember. I want to follow. I want to do all that stuff Justina's talking about. But you're not doing a thing about it. It's not going to work. So
yeah, that's scary. That's a scary challenge, lack of a better word, is to face your dreams or face your nightmares. So that's
sometimes people are afraid because they're afraid what their dreams will ask them to do.
Right.
To claim the power. I worked with a man with PTSD, and it was so helpful. He didn't want to work. It was, he was in the Vietnam War and had been in hell since then. I mean, look how many years. And when he started, talking about his the nightmares as if they were symbolic things and learning about them, it was so frightening for him because he didn't know any longer how to be that capable, productive person. And it asked a lot of him. And so he chose not to do that anymore because he was more comfortable being dysfunctional and having everybody take care of him. So this is what we have to, you're really hitting something very important of really wanting to live the full life, the authentic life of using your talents and skills. And to make that change, dreams plus action equals change, to make that change. And I used to think, I heard dreams come for health and wholeness. And so many of my dreams, when I started paying attention, were nightmares and really hard and terrifying. Right. And I thought, this doesn't feel like health and wholeness. And I struggled with that for years in helping other people. And I thought, why is there so much fear that comes through dreams if dreams are leading us to a better place? And I will never forget the day that I thought, aha, I know what it is. Dreams are asking us to be more. They're asking us to take risks. I'm sure in your career, Bill, you did so many things that you had to put yourself out there. You had to do things that you did not have any idea you were capable physically or mentally of doing. And you had to do it. The dream is going to ask that of us. And that is scary. It is really frightening.
Yes.
Jump off those cliffs. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, man. And I find that as a parent as well.
Yes.
Because sometimes you make your decisions based on a dream or based on a thought you've had while. So yeah, I completely I'm on board.
So that dream is saying, yes, take that job. Yes, it's across the country, but this is where your life calling is going, and it gives you the support. And see, when we wake up from the nightmare, say someone has a job, career change like that going on, and they are really struggling with the decision, and they have a dream, and they wake up, and there's a lot of fear in the dream, and they know it's about this job decision, and they start working with the dream and gaining meaning from the dream, and they have to look at that fear. Now, what am I? I know I'm afraid now. I never thought about this. I thought I was concerned about my family and didn't want to upset them. I thought I was worried about the salary, but now I realize I'm afraid. And the dream, once we tackle that, once we got that emotion, then we can say, what am I afraid of? And so many people, I'm afraid I'll fail. I'm afraid I'll get out there, I'll fail. I won't be able to do it. Now, the person has something tangible that they can struggle with. And otherwise, if they say, I'm confused. I don't know what to do because I'm so confused. There's so many things. Well, that doesn't move them anywhere. The dream wants them to go to fear. It wants them to have that nightmare of how frightened they are. You see how so the nightmares become good. I want to give you an example of a dream. It's a simple dream, and I think everyone can identify with this. Someone was, a woman was struggling with a big decision in her life, and she was very independent thinker, always could handle things, very capable, and she woke up with a nightmare and woke up her husband yelling help. So the dream scenario was she was on a bridge and she's driving the car and she gets into a rut in the middle of the bridge. It was like mud rut, and she couldn't back up and she couldn't go forward. And she tried, knowing how capable and everything she was like, I know I can get this car out of here. And finally, she got so frustrated in the dream, and she started screaming, help, and got out of the car screaming, help, looking around at other people. And she woke up in a sweat. She'd never felt so just inept in her life. And in that moment, she realized she needed to reach out for help. And this was the first time in her life that she had taken the chance to ask somebody else to help her out of a situation. But first she had to do it in the dream and see it didn't kill her in the dream, And that's what a lot of times we have the dreams and we're like, wow, I did that. I experienced it and it didn't kill me.
Yeah. So it's kind of, I kind of put it to the same as it's a leap of faith, but more a leap of faith in yourself than anything else.
It is a leap of faith in yourself. And this is what is so important, is that everybody listening understand that they are gifted this wisdom. And they can turn inward and listen to their dreams. And they may still say, but I don't understand this message of the dreams so much. But in the book, as you know, I go through the symbols. We understand symbolic language. I use examples in there of of maybe a yield sign or something that says yield. A hospital, an H.
Right.
We see that. It doesn't say hospital. It doesn't say this is the way to the hospital. It has an H and an arrow. We know turn right to get to the hospital. Well, that's sort of the language of the dreams. We know we need a restroom. What are we looking for? We're not looking for the word restroom. We're looking for a figure, an image. And so again, this is the symbolic language. Numbers in the dream, characters in the dream. I've narrowed it down to 3 aspects. There's so many aspects in dream interpretation we can look at, whether it's color setting, characters, emotions, animals, all of those things. But if people really look at 3 things, the emotions we've talked about, and I want to talk about characters because I think you'll really like the character part, and then beliefs. And we have to look at that emotional energy to know how and why we're reacting to situations as we are. And then we have to look at the aspects of ourselves. Do you understand the idea that you are a lot of different people? It's sort of like the 7 faces of each.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can be the businessman, and here you are interviewing me. You're the parent at home. You're the husband, I assume.
Yes.
And all of these different roles. You're the community member. You're the wrestler. All of these different things. And each one of those takes a different mindset and has a different set of things that allow it to be in that role. Well, we look at the characters in the dream, and that allows us to see all those different ways that we're thinking. We have ourselves in the dream, and here's our ego, and this is the way we go through life.
Right.
This is the way I appear to people out there. And then we have, there's somebody giving orders over here in the dream, and that might be the parent in us saying, don't do this, do this. And it might be that parental voice, not just for our children, but for ourselves. You think we've heard from other people. Are you stupid or what? How did you goof up so bad? Why did you make that decision? And we're talking to ourselves that way. And I love it. That's where I've learned so much about myself. It's not about what other people say about me that really gets me. It's what I say about myself.
Right.
It's how I treat myself. And you mentioned blame earlier, Bill, something about, I thought Bill really gets this, that, looking and blaming other people, we don't take the risk ourselves. The dream shows this up so well. We may have somebody really sabotaging us. We're almost in the dream getting what we want. We're nearing the finish line. And somebody comes up in the dream and trips us.
Right.
Well, if I were working with that person in their dream, I would want to know, who was that character that tripped you right before you got to the finish line? And they would tell me, oh, that's, Joe. I haven't seen him since high school. Well, tell me about Joe. Well, give me 3 descriptive words of Joe. Well, Joe was, he was a loser. He would start things, he'd get so excited, he'd never finish them. He was always a troublemaker kind of thing. And I just sort of felt sorry for him because he just couldn't quite get anything done. Well, I'd say, do you know yourself, the part of you like Joe that can't quite finish the deal? That doesn't believe that you deserve to get across the finish line. And usually people, when they touch him with that, they're almost in tears because they do know that part. And they are their worst enemy. We all are.
Yeah, it's hard to look at self first, right? It's easier to look out and give your thoughts or opinions on what everybody else is doing, but we're our hardest critics.
We are. And that's what I started talking about dream groups earlier. And dream groups are where we bring several people together. It can be any number of people. And we talk about our dreams. And usually there's a leader, and this is something that I really enjoy doing, is leading groups of people talking about their dreams. And we have to talk from if it were my dream, because again, we aren't there to tell other people what their dreams mean. But if you shared a dream with me, Bill, I would use that and imagine that I had dreamed that and speak about it as seriously as if it were I was there in that situation and this had happened to me. That allows you, the dreamer, to say, I hadn't thought about that, but I feel like that too. Right. Or to say, no, that's interesting that you felt like that, but I feel just the opposite from that. So it's not that you're going to feel the same, because your life experience is going to be, different. Right. But these groups are great because they do allow us to see the different aspects of ourselves. And they reflect back to us those different aspects of ourselves. And I always say in a group, I say it's so easy. We can look around this group, even if I'm doing a workshop and these people have been together 10 minutes. I said, you've already sized everybody up in the group.
Right.
You already have an opinion about everybody, and they always laugh because it's so true. But you have such a hard time seeing for yourself.
Right.
And this is key for dream work, is that mirror reflection, me looking at myself, Justina looking at Justina, and the way she lives, the way she survives, the way she moves, and in her relationships, in her career, and in her health, in her life.
Amazing. This is so interesting to me. I might have to take a trip up to see you, because I'm just fascinated by this. And
that would be a pleasure.
And this to me, and after this conversation, it's so much more clear. And going through the book and just this conversation, this is as healthy as it gets. You need this, and maybe it's just the way I'm taking it, but I've always found that you have to do something you don't want to do in health and for your mental well-being as well. But this is healthy. It's okay to go through this battle. Is that right? And then come to terms with it.
It's healthy. I love that. I think I'm going to quote you on that. This is healthy as it gets. I love it. It's so true, because it is the mind, the body, and the spirit all coming through in one dream. And guess what? The last part of the book title is transform, your career, relationships, and health while you sleep. I mean, we don't have to pay for it. We don't have to take more time out. We are already getting it. And some people are afraid that it's going to interrupt their sleep. And I say, no, it's going to make you sleep like a baby. And I think people usually get this after I tell them, but what's keeping people awake? Why are people so sleepless now? It's a sleepless society because we're struggling. We're so busy. We're pulled in a million directions, and we've got so much on our minds that we haven't had time to process. And that is what the dream is doing. The dream is processing what we're staying awake thinking about. Do you think?
Yeah, it's safe. So it's safe to say, and someone who has a stressful lifestyle, by the time they do take it all in, there's so much going on up there that kind of confuses the whole thing.
Awake. And so one of the things in the top 10 tips for remembering your dreams that I hope people will get off the website is that you need to write it down. I don't know if you see that, but even for me, and I'm so devoted to my dreams and I write them down every day, if I don't make notes in the night, I wake up and I go, oh my, I had a really amazing dream last night, but I can't remember it. Have you had that experience? Yeah, I mean, I think that happens to everybody. So I encourage people to have paper and pencil by their bed. And I use just discarded printer paper, fold it in half, put my pencil in the fold, and tuck it under my pillow. So I don't wake up, turn on the light or anything in the night. I just make some notes in the night, just enough to bring me back to the dream. And what we want to do is when we wake up, don't hop out of bed and move forward into your day. Dreams do not care about our agendas for the day. I mean, they care about our life, but our agenda of having to rush up, get dressed, get to work, all those things, that is totally out of dream time. So our dreams are gone. Sometimes maybe we get in the shower, the dream will sort of come back because we're in that thinking stage or driving to work. But mainly we need to get it before we start our day. So I encourage people, if they have to set their alarm 10 minutes early, do it. It's going to change your life in all those aspects. It's worth it. You know, people say, well, they don't have time. And I say, okay, let me ask you this question. When you wake up, do you check your email? Or do you check your text?
Facebook.
Or do you check your Facebook? Yeah. Well, guess what? The messages in your dreams are so much more important than anything you're going to find on Facebook.
And as I get into that ripe old age of just turning 50, and I'd like to think I'm wiser, there's got to be a point to what we've been talking about and what's in your books and this whole conversation is you've got to put yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people, and I've gotten a lot of grief in my life because I grew up with that being a very negative thing. Never, always put everybody else first. It's still, you know, my mother is 95 years old and she was raised with that and raised us with that and she still does that and is the best caregiver in the world. But for some people, they think that sounds selfish. And here's the thing, and I had to really struggle with that because we talked about beliefs and that was a real belief. But what I realized, I was dying fast by not taking care of myself. In my relationship, I was dying, you know, in my marriage, in my health, in every aspect of my being. Yeah. I was losing Justina. And it was only in claiming time for myself and understanding that first I did have to take care of myself so I could help other people, so I could be passionate about this in my life and do other things. But if we don't spend time with these things, yeah, we're in trouble in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And that applies to, I think that applies to whether you're a coach or a teacher or work in a pharmacy or whatever if you're not good, especially in this day and age, like you were talking about when we first started, if you're not good,
yeah,
you can't be good for someone else because there's too much going on.
No, and the people I train, you know, we have Dream Synergy certification for training people that want to work in the field of dreams, and that's part of the Institute for Dream Studies. And it's just so important for these people who are going to work coaching in any field to do their own work first.
Yeah.
And my students, and they would laugh if they, you know, heard me say this because they know that they had to do so much of their own work. First, they had to do their own work. They had to look at their own dreams. They had to look at their own life. They had to get really clear about their own issues and their own beliefs before they start messing around with somebody else. Otherwise, and we are projecting it on everybody else. Our negative sides, our negative thoughts, our negative emotions. And Bill, I think so much this is what's happening in the world, is that people are not claiming these emotions and stuff, and they're making other people bad.
Yeah.
I'm not bad. I'm good. You're bad.
Yeah.
You know, and really the dream will help so much with that, of claiming, yes, we all have negative thoughts. We all can do harm. We all have the power to hurt other people. And it's only in claiming that we're likely to be able to let that go and be kinder and gentler.
I'm all for that. I'm just so intrigued, and I'm gonna. I talk to my wife about so many things, and as you get, hopefully as you get smarter, as you get older, you start to realize that you have to deal with self first, and to know. And this is really informative and eye opening to me, because I, like so many other people, I think that are listening, and now that I'm going to share this conversation with a lot of my former students and future students, and even with my kids. It's okay. It's okay to have a bad night's dream or a nightmare, but as long as you confront it, and that's what I'm getting from this. And if I can take care of me, then I can take care of family and job and health and things like that.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you're sharing it with your students and family. And this is what I see happening, is a ripple effect. People that work with their dreams start to be surrounded by people that really see how life changes when they take that step to making their own life better. And it's a ripple effect. It just goes out into the world. One of the things that, of the three things of the dream synergy process, Bill, that we haven't talked about, and we've been all around it, is belief. And after, I'd worked in the field for 20 years or so, I was like, there's something missing that allows it to be sustainable. People are getting it, they're understanding it, they're making tough changes that make their life better, they're taking risks, but then sometimes they slip back into the old comfortable way of being. What is it that's allowing that? They're never the same. I've never seen anybody shift back to being the same person. I think they are always moving forward, but sometimes they get comfortable. And I realize it's belief, because if we sincerely believe that we do not deserve to succeed in our life, we've heard that so much as a child. You're lazy. You'll never amount to anything. These kind of beliefs. And I list all those beliefs in the book. It's a whole list of beliefs, and asking people to look at this. We never examine what we believe, but yet we live based on those beliefs. And some of those beliefs are very dysfunctional and do keep us from having what we want, whether we're succeeding in sports or whatever we want. And we have to think, what are those voices? And people think, yeah, it's my parents' fault because I didn't get to do anything because they always told me whatever it is. Well, guess what? Your parents are not with you anymore. They don't live with you anymore. So where are you hearing that? And most likely, we're telling ourselves that.
Right.
And so we have to seriously look at the beliefs. And I encourage, it sounds like you're a good, attentive parent. Families to sit down with their children and say, let's talk about what we believe as a family, and let them share what they believe. What do we want to take as our family beliefs? And if generationally we did that, that would make a different world. We're still living out of our great-grandparents and great-grandparents' belief systems without observing what they are.
Right. Family, work ethic, way of life, everything. And is that, so it comes down to, like anything else, repetition.
Yes.
Repetition.
Yes, because what we see as true, and it's not always true. I use the example of a belief system. When you're a child, you are taught what about crossing the road. What would happen if you're standing on the side of the road and your mother's standing there and you start to cross the road? What would happen to you if you crossed the road? What would your mother tell you?
Look both ways.
No, well, that would be a wise mother. But what would a lot of parents say? Say they have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old. If you cross the road, you will get what?
Run over.
It's not like you, for most parents, it's not if you don't look both ways. I'm talking about a very young, small child.
Right.
If you cross the road, you will get run over. Doesn't have any ifs in it, because we have to be very strict. If you touch the stove, you will be burned.
Right.
Okay, well, what we think that would be crazy if, as an adult, I never crossed the road or touched the stove, because I still believed what my mother told me when I was 3 years old. But do you know that we are doing that with other belief systems that are as a parent? We're doing it. We're still doing it.
Yeah. It's cult. Yeah.
The dream is great at teaching beliefs. In every dream, when I work with somebody in their dreams, we look at the belief system. What is the underlying belief system that either made you able to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish in the dream, or it didn't allow you to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish in the dream?
And it's funny because as you talk to people in what you're doing and what I'm doing, and some people are afraid to be different, and that stems from exactly what we're talking about. Well, I can't dream or have a different dream in life, or a dream, or whatever my thought process is, because it'd be different from them. And does that hold people back as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we're born to be different.
Yeah.
It is so freeing when you claim your dreams and you start seeing who you really are, and you start admitting that you have faults and that there are, weaknesses. I said it was the most freeing thing I've ever done in my life to say, see somebody misbehaving in a dream in some way, not being totally thoughtful in a dream, and realizing that I did that, and not believing that I did until I heard myself the next week say something very similar to someone. And I was horrified. I was like, oh my God, I acted just like that person in the dream. But to say, yes, I do it, and then know what to do with it next, and to ask for forgiveness, or, I'm so sorry. And otherwise, we just continue doing it the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
But we all have frailties. We all have negative emotions. We all have this. And it's just so much fun in life to be able to goof off and go, whoops, I'm really good. So I'm going to try to do that. I am going to do that differently next time. And the dream shows us that. And the dream is so persistent and patient. It never gives up on us. The same dream will come to you, Bill, over and over your entire life until you get the message. And that's the recurring dream over and over. Because it wants you to be your most. It wants you to be your happiest. And it's there to guide you.
Just fascinating. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this conversation. This has just been your energy, and that's my whole thing about the Bill DeMott experience, as I said earlier, is about meeting people and learning something and sharing stories about coaches, and whether it's coaching people in life or in sports or as a parent or as a child, learning something so informative. I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. I want to touch on again before we leave that please tell us where everybody can pick up your latest book, and let's talk about the website again, because I think the 10 points you made are very important. So is there share with me
okay.
now and the
how to get in touch with me. Yes. And your dreams. Okay. So you talked about Amazon recently, as an advertising. So why don't we suggest they go to Amazon and to find the book. And the title of the book is Wake Up to Your Dreams, Transform Your Relationships, Help Relationships and Career While You Sleep. And my name, so they'll know how to spell it, I think you put it up, but it's Justina, Justina, Lasley, Lasley. So you can go to Amazon and put that in and find my books there. I also have a dream journal that in my dreams that shows you how to journal your dreams and gives you some tips and guidelines for recording your dreams and working with your dreams. And then if you're interested in working in the field of dreams, honoring your dreams, a handbook for dream group leaders. And so you can look at all that and look through them. As we know on Amazon, a nice thing is you can browse through the book and get a glimpse of it. And my website has a lot of information in it. It's Dream Synergy. I wish we had this up. Dream Synergy, DreamSynergy.com.
While you're talking, I'm going to put that up. So
okay, DreamSynergy.com. And I name it Dream Synergy because of all the energy that does come through the dream and around the dream and working with the dream and how that all influences one. But go onto the website and you can sign up for the top 10 tips for remembering your dreams. Then you find you can get tips for recording your dreams. I have a lot of blogs on the website. I have a lot of interviews on the website. You can learn all about emotions and characters, all of that kind of thing on the website. And Bill, I want to be sure to tell the audience, and this may be something you're really interested in, is that I have a great new online course coming up starting in January. And it's with gladwing.com, but you can find this under events on my Dream Synergy website. We started this course in September, and it was very successful. It's a 4-week course that you can do online, but I'm doing this with Robert Wagner, and he is an expert in lucid dreaming, for those of you listening, and that's a whole different program.
A whole different.
Talk about lucid dreaming, but we're doing this for 4 weeks, and so what a great way to start off the new year with a new you and paying attention and being guided step by step of this Dream Synergy process with Robert Wagner and me. So we'll have a good time with that.
Fantastic. Everybody, there it is. It's up on the screen. And everybody, all of the Bill DeMott Experience on iTunes, it's www.dreamsynergy.com. Go to that website. Check it out. My friends at Amazon are happy to know we're plugging them again where we can get your books. Justina, I can't thank you enough for your time and the information. And I want to say this, very helpful to me as an individual, because I'm going to look at things differently. And as I promised to finish the book in the busy thing we call life, I will finish the book. But I can't thank you enough for your time. I love your passion. I'm a big fan of that word passion, but your energy and your passion comes through, and that's what draws me to such things. And I just thank you so much.
And Bill, I have to say, I thank you. And I did not know what to expect today. People are like, "Who's interviewing you?" And I said, I put on Facebook, I'm always ready to jump on board. I never know quite where I'm going, but this is what Dream Work does. And thank you for bringing this to the world and all the things you offer to the world to make it a better place. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, and I appreciate you as well. I want to say happy holidays, and I look forward going into the new year. I'd like to catch up going into the new year, and we can talk more about this.
Yeah, come to Charleston to visit.
It's a date. Thank you so much, everybody.
Sweet dreams.
Thank you. Sweet dreams. Hey, everybody on the Bill DeMott Experience. This is what it's all about for me. And so, I have it up on the screen, and for everybody on iTunes, www.dreamsynergy.com. What a great conversation with Justina. It makes sense if you want it to make sense. Like I always say at the end of the day, I'm Bill DeMott. This is the Bill DeMott Experience. Do what you say what you mean what you do. I'm out.
VinceRussoBrand.com to sign up for exclusive VIP content. For just $4.95 a month, you get over 20 new video shows monthly, including Vixens Who Rule, The Swerve, and Shoot to Thrill, where Vince Russo interviews stars in wrestling and beyond. Listen to Vince and Jeff Lane discuss weekly news and rumors and review current and Attitude Era Raws. Also, watch the cult hit Bucket Full of Chicken next. go to VinceRussoBrand.com and click the red subscribe button to join now.